Hi everyone, meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer here. I'll be with you in just a second. This is our live streaming weather show at 6 p.m. Normally, meteorologist Ethan Emery's here, but he's on a well-deserved vacation. He will be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. for you. But overall, we've got a lot to talk about. First of all, while I'm setting up the weather computer, take a look at our live tower cam shot, and you can see it has been a gloomy, cool day around the tri-state. Temperatures most of the day have been in the 60s, have not warmed up much at all. And luckily, the damaging weather is over. It was an incredible occurrence around here. And just imagine how much worse it will be down to the south, where we had all that damage and where Helene was still a strong, strong hurricane. So we, again, are talking about weather that is settling down quite a bit. Now, we'll take a look at some rainfall totals from the area. We'll take a look at also what it looks like now and some of the highest wind gusts. Excuse me a second, got to turn off a set of lights here. Now we got proper color balance, as we call it. So overall, it was one of those days. Now, we had talked about it. We had a first alert weather day out, and at one point in time, I was talking about a couple of the models were starting to hint that we would see 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. One of the models actually got up to 75 miles an hour, but the highest wind gust ended up being 67 miles an hour. That's measured, and there were some spots where it might have been even higher than that based on radar data. So we ended up with quite a Friday evening. And again, two thumbs up and hats off to all the Duke Energy workers who worked all night, last night, all day today. They're still working to get power restored. I know when I got home from work last night, just about 11:15, they were working on my street where there was a massive tree that came down, took out a power pole, took out lines and all that, and they got the power back on overnight. So it's pretty amazing what they did. So, okay, let's go ahead and take a look. And again, Ethan Emery will be back tomorrow. This is his show, and he usually is here, but he's on a vacation day. So, okay, so let's take a look at the greatest rainfall totals. Now, the left-hand column and then the right-hand column. So this goes down. So Highland in Highland County had the most recorded in the Fox 19 Now viewing area. Now, there were spots just outside of the viewing area over in the Scioto River Valley that got over 5 inches. And as a matter of fact, Washington Courthouse, just outside of the Fox 19 Now viewing area, got over 5 inches. But within the counties that are our viewing area, Highland in Highland County had the most. Bainbridge, also in Highland County, came in second. Hillsborough came in with 3.16 inches, and Lynchburg came in with 2.95 inches. So most of the rain that fell in our viewing area fell in the northeast corner, primarily Highland County. Now, the second column there continues. So 2.92 in Maysville, Washington, which is in Mason County. It's often called Old Washington. 2.90 inches. Morrow up in Warren County got 2.87, and Bright over in southeast Indiana got 2.85 inches of rain, and those are the highest rainfall totals. Now, there were a lot that were close to this. I mean, there were quite a few that were just under 2.85 inches. 1.99 was the official at CVG, and we've been talking all summer long about the drought monitor, which comes out on Thursdays. The data cycle ends on Tuesday mornings, and it will be so much different. This, in fact, was what we would call a drought buster. Doesn't mean we're completely back to where we need to be with soil moisture, but with the La Nina pattern beginning to develop, we should have a fairly wet winter, and that should help make it up, because what farmers really need now is adequate moisture, or maybe more than adequate moisture, over the winter months so that they start off the spring with plenty of soil moisture to get the crops going. It was a disastrous year for many farmers. Okay, so once again, the highest 1, 2, 3, 4 amounts recorded in the viewing area were in Highland County. Then Mason County had the next two at Maysville and Washington, or Old Washington if you prefer. Morrow up in Warren County, 2.87. Now, I grew up in Loveland, so Morrow's not far along. And I ride my bicycle often through Morrow on the bike trail up there. And then Bright, Indiana had 2.85 inches of rainfall. Okay, let's take a look at the highest wind gusts that were reported. Okay, Wilmington had, up the air park there, 67 miles an hour. Lunken Airfield, 64 miles an hour. Now, that's just on a straight line. That's about a mile and a half south of my house. And our street had massive damage with trees, and we've got a big old maple tree that I'm going to have a tree guy come in and trim back because there are a lot of broken limbs, big limbs. So Lunken Airfield 64, CVG and Springboro, that's the Wright Brothers Airport up in Springboro, at 62 miles an hour, and Vanceburg had winds gusting to 55 miles an hour. So, and then many areas were just below that, but those are for our viewing area. The counties, the 28 counties that we count as being in our viewing area. And you know, typically what I do when I do this is I don't answer questions until I've gone all the way through this. But I'll tell you what I'm going to try and do. I'm a Facebook moron, but I'm going to try and find this live feed on Facebook, and I can watch your comments then and try and answer some of them as we go. But I had trouble finding it yesterday, so let's see. Is it under video? No, that looks like recorded video. I don't see the live shot there. Oh, I know where to go. Wait. Maybe if I remember right. I'm not as much of a Facebook moron maybe as I thought. All right. Okay, there I am. And yesterday I described this as, oh my gosh, I'm on Facebook. Look at that gray-haired old man trying to figure out what's going on. So that's what we've got. And then I'm not really sure. Let's see. I'm not really sure how to enable comments. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, now I've got came on, and all I've got to do is mute it, and we'll be fine. All right. So Tammy L. Sandy, when is the rain going to stop? Well, Tammy, we'll get into that here. We want to talk about the forecast for a little bit. And the reason I wanted to do this is because last week, actually it was earlier this week, I went for 20 minutes talking and I didn't have the comments up, and I found out that the mic was not working, so I had to start all over. And it went over an hour. But so we know it's working. Nobody's saying the mic's not working, and so I'll get back with you on the comments here coming up in a couple of minutes. And I'm monitoring this off the Fox 19 Facebook account, not off my own account at Fox 19, so you know. So if you're commenting to my page, I may not see it at all. Okay. Okay, let's get past that. I thought I eliminated that. So look at the latest wind gusts. This is a map of the latest wind gusts, and there are none. Okay, and if you've been outside, it's like I took some of our dogs like a 4-mile walk, and it was drizzly and cool, but really nice. I tell you what a great change. After walking for weeks and on those dusty trails and all that, it was so nice to have it kind of moist out there and cooler, and there are just no wind gusts anymore. So, and we are long past any kind of dangerous weather here. Okay, so here's the latest radar loop, and who was it? Tammy L. Sandy asked, when's the rain going to stop? Well, Tammy, you can see that there's rain pretty much in every direction. There are a few spots where it stops briefly, but it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon, and we'll look at the model data. I think we're going to still have some showers during the day tomorrow. Okay, as we zoom out, now you can see the center of this thing right here, okay? And if you're just joining me and you're expecting to see Ethan Emery here, he's on vacation. He was on vacation this week. His vacation continues today, but he'll be back tomorrow. So, okay, so here is the center of the circulation. You can see it right here. And what's going to happen is the circulation is going to slowly progress this way. Every once in a while, some drier air will come our way, but we've got scattered showers in the forecast for a little while yet. And we'll get to the 7-day forecast and look at that in more detail. But you can see that center pretty well. Okay, so here's where we go. Okay, let's take a look at what happens. We're starting off tonight at midnight, okay, Sunday at 12 a.m., with some scattered showers in the area. Scattered showers mainly in our northern counties by 7 a.m. Sunday. During the day Sunday, a few showers, maybe a brief thunder shower popping up, maybe a clap of thunder, nothing big. But notice it looks more dry starting tonight than it does wet. And I'm not quite sure this model's showing you enough precipitation based on what you just saw there on radar. But overall, it should taper off in just a few scattered showers from here on out. Now, take a look at this. This is the drought monitor that came out on Thursday. Okay, now remember, the data for this stops Tuesday morning, okay, about 8 a.m. So you could see that now this is extreme drought right here. The darkest red right here is exceptional drought, and that was in eastern Highland County still. But we had extreme drought from Ripley County through most of Dearborn, through the northern parts of Hamilton County, the southeastern two-thirds of Butler County, all of Warren, all of Clinton, and most of Highland County. The next color down, severe drought in a large area here, moderate drought in every other place with the exception of abnormally dry weather for Mason, Lewis, and a little bit of Robertson counties. Okay, now this is going to change dramatically. It'll be very interesting to compare this to what comes out Thursday and show you how much better conditions are. Unfortunately, it's not enough rain to completely bring us back to normal. And it's too late for farmers. I mean, it's too late in the season to really make a difference. And so when you see this, you're going to see almost all this drought pretty much gone by the time we get to next week. Okay, so Climate Prediction Center says that in the next 6 to 10 days, this map goes through the 8th of October. We are going to be warmer than normal. We cool off to about normal through the 12th of October, and we're looking at there at about normal temperatures as we go to the 26th of October. Okay, slightly more than normal rainfall through the 8th of October, about normal rainfall through the 12th, and then as we head into the 3 to 4 week outlook, it looks like we stay about normal, so that is pretty good news. Now, I just saw here, somebody just said, let's see, that Verona had about 5 inches of rainfall. Now, the only numbers I could give you were reported to the National Weather Service, and that was not in the National Weather Service list. And so the numbers I gave you were what the National Weather Service gave us officially. So here's your 7-day forecast. Sunday, scattered showers in 72, a few isolated showers Monday and Tuesday. And again, that means scattered and isolated means mostly dry. Partly cloudy on Wednesday, and then we go into a sunny stretch Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then we go into beyond the 7-day forecast. We've only got one of those 7 days with some rainfall. Looks like Monday the 7th we go to maybe some scattered showers, but the rest of the time dry. High temperature of 67 on Tuesday the 8th, but it looks like temperatures at or a little bit above normal through that stretch of time. And here is the summary graphic on that. I haven't had a time to modify this, but you can see we're not far from normal as we head through that 14-day stretch. So let's see what we've got here in some of the comments. All right. So sorry, I got to take my glasses off to be able to read these. Okay, Lori Bryan said Verona, Kentucky hit over 5 inches. That wasn't reported to the Weather Service, and again, I was just reporting what the Weather Service sent to us. Patricia Wallace-Gatrell says, thanks for the update. All right, let's see. Wow, man, there are a lot of people watching. Raymond Saroli wants to know if flash flooding is going to be a problem. No, we no longer have any problem with flash flooding. The rain we get from here on out is a gentle kind of rain and here's the good news. If you get so much rain that it just falls so fast it can't soak in, it just runs off and it doesn't do you any good. This, in most cases, was a nice soaking rain that was really a drought buster. So, but Raymond, no chance of flash flooding with this. We're past that now. All right, I've got a lot of people watching. Jane Lawson says hello. Hello, Jane. How are you? Jane Marie says, is the river going to rise? I'm taking it you mean the Ohio River. Let me take a look. I can take a look at that forecast for you real quickly. And I don't expect it to rise much. It's been so dry, it would take a lot, but it'll probably rise a little bit. So I'm looking up the river forecast for you now. Okay, the river forecast products. No, they what in the Ohio River at Cincinnati? What are they doing here? Just a minute. They've changed something here, and it's new. No, it's not. It's going to stay at 28 feet or below. So the Ohio River Forecast Center's official forecast says the Ohio River will not come up that much. There was just way too much dry weather ahead of time, and the rain fell in most cases gradually enough that a lot of it's soaked in rather than run off. Let's see. Okay, and that's all the questions I have here. So let's see if, let me look in the other way. The way I normally do it, I normally look at Facebook on this computer. So let's see. Yep, same thing. Okay, so that is it for the comments right now. Let me go back over this now. I've got it up here on the screen, and so I'll give it to you full screen, and we'll take a look at a couple of things here, and I'll go through by hand so that I can make more comments. Okay, so this is our tower camera. Tower camera is located obviously on our tower in South Fairmont, which is up on a hill above I-75 west of the city. And you can see the low cloud cover. You see some raindrops there on the screen. We can load another couple. And now the screen might go black here because sometimes it takes a little while to load these cameras, depending on the connectivity and how much traffic's on the internet. Okay, so the camera is loading. I told you the screen might go black. There it is. Give it about 5, 4, 3, there it goes, even faster than I thought. All right, so there's our levee camera. This is on Newport on the Levee. Now, Newport on the Levee is where our sports department has their football show. You might want to check that out. You can actually join the audience. They're live. You just have to show up. You don't need tickets, and you might be able to interact with some of your Bengals fans or your Bengals players. So same thing, same look there. Not a very nice looking afternoon out there, but let me tell you, this is exactly what we really need. We really needed this kind of weather. And we can take a look at a traffic camera to see what it looks like. Now this is I-275 at Hamilton Avenue. Road's wet, traffic is light, and people are going along well, so no big traffic problems that way. And let's see. Let's go back now to the forecast, the results of what we had here. So here's the greatest rainfall amounts that were reported to the Weather Service, and I know there are some areas that got more, like Tammy. No, not Tammy. I'm sorry. Like Lori Bryant said that they got 5 inches in the Verona area. All I can, and I'm reporting that now. I'm telling you that's what she said. But this particular graphic is based on what the National Weather Service reported from their observers and all that, and the airports. So Highland and Highland County got the most in our viewing area of 3.40 inches. Bainbridge 3.33, and Hillsborough 3.16, Lynchburg 2.95, all in Highland County. Okay. Now, just outside of that, now there might be parts of Highland County, in the eastern part of the county, where there are no rain gauges and observations made, that got 5 inches of rainfall, because just to the east of that, in the Scioto River Valley, there were a number of spots that exceeded 5 inches of rainfall. Okay, then, so those are the top 4 are all in Highland County. Highland, Bainbridge, Hillsborough, Lynchburg. The next 4, Maysville, 2.92, Washington, or Old Washington, also in Mason County, south of Maysville, at 2.90. Now, Morrow came in with 2.87. It's up in Warren County, southern Warren County, right along the bike trail, not far from Loveland. And then Bright, 2.85 inches over in southeast Indiana. So the heavy rainfall was pretty widespread around the tri-state. It included all 3 of the states in our viewing area. Now, here are the highest wind gusts reported to the National Weather Service. Wilmington came in with 67 miles an hour. Now, if you think about it, if you've ever drive up I-75, you go past Wilmington, it's wide open up there. It's kind of like being in Nebraska, because wide open, there's not much in the way of forest or buildings and that to really stop the wind, and so the wind gets to blow unabated across the landscape. So that's not unusual that Wilmington would have the highest wind gust at 67 miles an hour. Lunken Airport got 64 miles an hour. The official at CBG was tied with Springboro, and Springboro is the Wright Brothers Airport, okay, at 62 miles an hour, and Vanceburg, 55 miles an hour over in Lewis County. And I tell you what, the damage was impressive, widespread. And one of the things that I used to teach meteorology in schools, I tried to teach students to be aware of is oftentimes how much of an impact a storm has has a lot to do with what came before it, okay? So, for example, if you have a big snowstorm, but right before it you had 4 weeks of really warm weather with a lot of sunshine, warm for winter, the ground is warm, a lot of that snow would melt right away, okay? If on the other hand you had a lot of cloudy, cold weather and the ground was really cold, that snow would stick a lot more. So the preceding few weeks before a snowstorm really has a lot to do with the impact of that snowstorm. In this case, it was the drought that we've had. And at one point, before we got some rain, from the 1st of May through the middle of September is when this measurement was made, we were 5.07 inches shy of rainfall. That is just May into middle of September. We only get, on the average, around 40 inches of rain around here. So that was 12.5, almost 13% of our annual rainfall that hadn't fallen. I mean, that 5 inch shy. And now, if you're wondering what we're up, let's see here. I can check into the National Weather Service's website and find out. Okay, Wilmington National Weather Service, and today, the rainfall yesterday officially was 1.99 inches, okay? And today the rainfall at the National Weather Service, according to the National Weather Service, that's CVG I should say, was 0.54 inches, so over half an inch. So for the month, we've had 5.03 inches at CVG. Normal is 2.9, so now we have 2.13 inches of rain more than normal just this month. And so that would put us, that would bring the deficit from May down to somewhere around 2 inches. So we're still below normal for rainfall, but we're starting to make it up, and so that's why I call this a drought buster. When you see the drought monitor next Thursday, we're no longer going to be in drought in most cases. There'll still be some dry areas, but it won't be drought. And then I started talking about what happens the weeks before a big storm can often determine the impact of that storm. Now for us, 67 mile an hour wind gust, and again, if you have a 67 measured wind gust, it's likely that some spots where there are no anemometers, which measure wind, so some spots with no anemometers made it to 70 miles an hour, because there's never, in other words, when you have one anemometer measure that, it's unlikely that that particular spot is the highest wind gust anywhere around the tri-state. So more than likely there were some 70 mile an hour wind gusts. And I tell you what, Lunkin had 64 miles an hour, and the tree damage in my neighborhood was great enough, so I do not doubt that we were very close to 70. And a lot of that has to do with the terrain. If the winds are blowing and they're blowing into, let's say, an upland area, that kind of causes the winds to accelerate because they're being funneled. So there are a lot of things that factor into what the wind speeds are. And just because the highest wind speed you see here was in Wilmington doesn't mean there weren't places that had higher wind gusts, okay? So 67 miles an hour, the highest that the National Weather Service saw. That includes the Kentucky Mesonet, that includes some of the home weather stations. I would not doubt that there were spots that had over 70, just based on the degree of damage out there. Okay, so what preceded this storm was a long drought, okay, with that rainfall at 5.0 inches shy of normal just from the 1st of May up through the middle of September. And what that means is that a lot of trees had inadequate moisture. They were moisture stressed, as we would say. And so the way trees work, here's the moisture. It's brought up through the trunk, spread out to the limbs, and then to the leaves. And if the moisture supply is short, a lot of limbs, a lot of leaves don't get moisture, and that's why you begin to see those things drop off. So what happens is the limbs that aren't getting adequate moisture get brittle. They don't necessarily die, but they're just more brittle, and they're more vulnerable to wind damage. And we tried to make that point heading into this that, A, it's going to be a lot of rain, okay, and the rain could cause some flooding, definitely cause traffic issues. And the other fact was that we're going to have winds gusting high enough to cause wind damage to trees, roofs, power lines. But in addition to that, because of the drought acts as an amplifying factor for the degree of damage from the wind gusts. And that's exactly what happened. So, I mean, it's not anywhere, not even in the same category as what's going on down to the south, where Helene was still a strong hurricane, but it's extensive damage around here. And one of the other things that I wanted to mention is that this is different than a line of thunderstorms coming through and causing a gust of wind. Okay, and if I looked at it right, I'm going to give me a second. I got the NW. No, I don't want that. I'm going to go take a look at the 5-minute data for Lunken Airport. Okay. All right. Lunken Airport 5-minute data. Go to about, and the highest wind gust at Lunken occurred at 3:30 p.m. yesterday afternoon. So if you look at it, when you have a thunderstorm come through, you'll have, and the gust run comes through, you get a gust of wind. It might give you a couple gusts of wind over a minute or two, maybe 3 minutes, and that's it. When you have a system like this tropical system, you have gust after gust after gust after gust. So let's go back. I'm going to go to 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. The wind was gusting to 32 at Lunken. Okay, so if we go from 2 o'clock, there was a 40-mile-an-hour wind gust 5 minutes later. And then it settled down into the 30s, 48-mile-an-hour wind gust at 2:39. Then it settled down into the 30s. 45-mile-an-hour wind gust at 2:53, 2:55, 47 at 3:10, 30. Then in the 30s, then 63 at 3:30, 63 miles an hour at 3:30, 44, then 64 at 3:37, 28, 30, 39, 43, and then it began to settle down. So, in other words, you had a half an hour here with the winds gusting, slowing down, and that pushes those tree limbs back and forth, and each gust weakens it a little bit, and then finally you get one that's strong enough to either take the tree down or take the limb down. So it's very different. Typically when a line of thunderstorms comes through and that gust front ahead of the storms comes through, you get a wind gust. May last 30 seconds. You may get another brief wind gust, but for the most part, it's only a couple minutes. This was several hours of gusty winds. As a matter of fact, the winds gusted into the 40s as early as the earliest wind gust of 40 I see here was here we go, was 12:53 p.m. So over a 3 to 4 hour period, you had enough wind gust to begin to cause damage, and that's why this was when you factor in the amplifying factor of the drought, that's why this had such widespread damage around the tri-state. Okay, again, there are no gusts out there right now. We don't expect any, so the problem with wind damage is over. The rainfall is still falling, but it's light. Okay, we've had another half an inch today. It fell gradually enough at the International Airport, maybe a little bit more in some spots. So you don't really have any worries about flash flooding. That's completely gone from the tri-state at the present time. And there won't be any more worries about flash flooding. Man, I worked like a 15-hour day yesterday. I have so much stuff jammed into my weather computer rundown that that I'm having trouble finding what I'm looking for, and the fact that I need new glasses so I can't see it. Okay. And you know, it's like, you know, my dad used to say, getting old beats the alternative. So those new aches and pains you get as you age a little bit, I'd much rather have those than nothing at all. So, all right. Okay, let's see what the observed precipitation. I'll put this graphic up here. I want to erase some of these things. Yeah, see, I'm going to have to go in and change it. Give me a second. I'm going to... Okay, there it is. Okay, erase those, and I'm going to go in and change this to 48 hours, okay, or maybe even longer. Okay, it says it was for 24 hours, and I did this yesterday, but that's really not not enough. We want to look at what's happened over the whole thing. So, again, remove those darn glasses. Okay, and the tool. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to, there we go, 48 hours. Okay, so now I can do some queries. This is what's happened 48 hours. So 48 hours from 6 p.m. today. So 24 hours, that'd be 6 p.m. Friday, and that would go back to 6 p.m. Thursday. So this is from like the beginning of the remnants of Helene beginning to affect us. And I can do what's called a query, and an online query. It'll pop up the rainfall amounts. So remember I said near the Scioto River Valley, here's Chillicothe. Let me show you, let me go on. Here's Chillicothe right here, outside of our viewing area. But here you see that band of heavy rain. For a while there, they had severe thunderstorm warnings with a tag. A tag is like an additional statement that said tornado possible. And I was watching the rotation here. Luckily, this stuff wasn't coming our way. It was going more like this and really avoided. And then the rotation began to settle down, so it wasn't. But the Weather Service is watching that for the possibility of a tornado. But look at the heaviest rain right there. So we can go here and do an online query and find this red spot right here. I'll do this red spot right here, and I'm going to put it full screen for you. And what you'll see here is that was 5.7 inches of rain there south of Chillicothe. If we go to the next red dot up, that one was about 5.2. The next red dot up, about 6.3 inches of rainfall. And if we go down to the one near the Ohio River, that was 5.1 inches of rainfall. So there you had quite a bit of rainfall over that way. And if you look at eastern Highland County, now I can zoom in, and I will take a look at also before we get done with this. I will take a look at Verona so we can see what radar showed down there. Okay, so now if we blow this up, okay, and go now, that's Rocky Fork Lake right there that just appeared. You can go right here, and you can the highest amount of rainfall that radar estimates fell in Highland County was in the Rainsboro area, a little bit south and east of Rainsboro, and that was 3.2 inches. And so it got you just had one of those feeder bands. Okay, you had one of those feeder bands over here giving you those higher amounts, and Highland County was on the edge of it, so they got 3.2 inches. And if we head to the south here, well, I didn't want to do that. Let me see. Try again. Oh, I had to change the tool. Sorry. If we head to the south here and look at Adams County, you can see that Adams County, the highest rainfall total there, was about 3.9 inches. So probably some spots in far eastern Adams County probably got 4 inches, whereas in the West Union area, it was about 2.5. Over near Winchester, it was about 2.3, and up around Peebles, a little bit north of Peebles, it was 2.8 inches. So good rainfall amounts in Adams County, and a lot of people on the evening show that we do, 7:15 p.m. Monday through Friday, have quite a few people from Adams County that have been watching and mentioning how their corn has been burnt and all that. They really needed this rainfall. I mean, it wasn't rated as being as dry as Eastern Highland County, but it was definitely on the dry side. Okay, so let me change the tool, zoom back out here. Okay, so let's take a look. Now we had the viewers talk about Walton having maybe as much as 5 inches of rainfall. Now, that doesn't mean that radar is going to pick it up exactly, because radar is just really an estimate here. So, all right. I thought that Walton would show up here if I zoomed in. So, but well, I'll just take some samples from around different counties here. So if we go to southern Owen County. Okay, southern Owen County here, 2 inches in southern Owen County. Up north around Poplar Grove, that's just above Eagle Creek there, 1.8 inches. Dry in the Dry Ridge area, just to the west of 75, an inch and a half. When you get over to Brooksville, a little bit southeast of Brooksville, about 2.4, and then up near Independence, according to radar, about 1.3. Now, here's a good test of radar. What we're going to do here, let me go here, erase all these, and drag it back up and zoom in on the international airports area. Okay, so the international airport right here along 275. And remember, they had 1.99 inches of rain officially yesterday, and then they've had 0.54, so it should be somewhere around 2.5 inches. And this will show you how we're really cautious about radar estimated rainfall around the area. So, that was a notice from Spectrum saying that, hey, your cable's still out. It's like, yeah, I know. My wife's sitting at home watching TV off my other phone. Okay, so let's go here, and near CVG, 1.5 inches of rainfall. So there's something not quite right about this. And let me make sure that... all right, so yeah, it says last 48 hours. So it doesn't always, and it doesn't have the resolution that you would want it to have necessarily. So, and I don't think I can go any further than that. So, okay, so yeah, this is around 1.5. So you got to take it kind of with a grain of salt. And whenever you have extremes, and I would say this was an extreme, you are going to have some things that fall through the cracks. But you can basically see the pattern here. You can see the pattern that right here was circulation around what's left of Helene. This area was closer to that, and then we had those wind gusts all through here. So that kind of summarizes what happened. All right, so let's go ahead and see what comes up next here. Oh, I know it. I've got to hit this button. Okay, so let's go back to the forecast model. And you know what? Forecast models are also like that. They also vary. And so some models sometimes, and I tell you, some of the models were saying wind gust wouldn't get any higher than like 55. One model said the wind gust would get close to 75. And as I just explained, 67 was the highest wind gust, but we only have wind measurements at certain points. And in between those points, terrain, a lot of things can affect that. It can increase the wind speed. And so I wouldn't doubt that there were spots in the tri-state based on the damage that had 70-mile-an-hour winds. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not so sure this, let me, and this is what we often do when we're forecasting. We look at a model and say, you know, that just doesn't look right. So let's, let me take this and let me change models here and see what's going to happen. All right. Okay, we're getting, just give me a second. You can see the model has changed. So let me just walk through this one. This is the or the high resolution rapid refresh model. Comes out every hour. And this is the, so let's go ahead and see, oops, wait a minute, let me go back to the Somehow I, all right, so here, let's go see what happens. Okay, that looks pretty much like what we see on radar now, okay? And so here we are at 8 p.m., so that's coming up in a couple hours. So here we're at 6:39. So here we go at 6:30. It's kind of got it. It doesn't seem to have as much here, but a lot of what we saw on radar is just drizzle in spots, and this is kind of reflecting a little bit heavier rainfall. So, so let's see what this one does. This one does that. It moves everything off to the north, and then you can see the circulation around the hurricane, or what's left of the hurricane, and then you can see scattered showers in the area again. Okay, so that was the that was the HRRR model. Let's try the IBM model and see how that differs. Now, watch what happens. It has the same basic movement. It has everything turning into scattered showers, just like the other one did. Yeah. All right. So that's base. Okay, it's the HRRR. Let's go back to the IBM model. Okay, and I turn it on, turn it off. Okay, so now this is the one we originally looked at, and let's compare that to her. And there you see it does the same thing. It has a little bit more rainfall, but notice this is by Sunday at 7:30 p.m. So here we are Sunday at 3 a.m., Sunday at 8 a.m., most of the area dry, but we do have some showers in the area. And then notice you can still see the circulation around it, but just scattered showers on into Monday evening. So we still have scattered showers in the forecast during the day on Monday. All right, so let me see if I've got any more questions or comments here. Let's see. Wow, have quite a few viewers here. So the important thing that I can emphasize now is even though we still have some rain out there, no more heavy rain, no more threat of flooding. In addition to that, we no longer have winds gust at all, and so there's no threat of any more damage from that. Be very careful. A number like the big tree that got so whacked in my side yard, there are a bunch of limbs that are partially broken and hanging off, and you want to be very careful about those because you don't know, how strong they are attached still to the tree. They could fall at any time. So be careful about that. All right, let's see. Susan Wally says, hope you had a great Saturday. Absolutely. Whenever I get to work, I have a great Saturday. But I'll tell you what, I'll have even a better Sunday because Ethan Emery's back tomorrow and he'll be doing this. I love my job, but I love my off time too. All right, so let's see. Okay, so Lugene Kendall Bradford said, is there another rain and wind event tomorrow? No. We've got scattered showers in the forecast, but no winds to speak of. So again, we're completely out of the situation where we have any kind of dangerous weather at all. So nothing like that. You'll have a little breeze, but you won't have much. I mean, it's not going to be dead calm, but it's certainly not going to have any winds that are anywhere close to being damaging. All right. Okay, where is Helene? Theodore Johnson wants to know, where is Helene now? Okay, let's go back to radar, and we can pin it down really well on radar because a circulation like Helene definitely it shows up well on radar. And what I'll do, I'll just zoom out here. Okay, now remember, Helene is a low-pressure system. In the northern hemisphere, all low-pressure systems circulate counterclockwise, okay? And so that whether it's a tropical low or a low along a front, all low pressures north of the equator circulate like this, okay? If you're south of the equator, it's opposite. And I've got a funny story about that because years ago I went to shoot a program for another TV station I work for in Antarctica. And then we had to build in extra time for bad weather, and we were getting ready to fly back out of, courtesy of the Air National Guard from New York State, we were going to fly in a big C-130 out of Antarctica over into southern South America to catch our commercial flights. And the weather just got crazy. And so they asked me to, since I was a meteorologist, they asked me my opinion of what was going to happen. And they gave me these satellite images, and I had a computer with a loop on it. And of course, instead of white clouds and black around it, it was black clouds and white around it, which is kind of disconcerting when you're used to the opposite. And we were in the southern hemisphere, so I'm used to low pressure systems circulating like this, but when I was looking at it, they were circulating like this. And it's kind of like going to a country where they drive on the left-hand side of the road instead of the right. You can do it, it's just kind of discombobulating, and that's what happened. So, north of the equator, all low-pressure systems circulate like this. And so the question was, where is Helene now? You can see the center of circulation right here in western Kentucky, and that's exactly where the model said. You no longer can see the eye. Now, yesterday when we were watching this, we saw the eye come up to the Appalachian Mountains, cross over the Appalachian Mountains, drop into Kentucky, and it disappeared. Okay, once it got past the mountains, it was just too disrupted for that eye to show up. Okay, so, there we go. Okay, so you have this right here, this circulation right here, and that is the center of Helene. Now, that circulation is going to continue to slowly go this way and weaken as it does. And tomorrow, it'll have 20-mile-an-hour winds around the surface, around the circulation. And for us, a little bit of a breeze, but absolutely nothing out of the ordinary around the tri-state. Okay, anything else here? Okay. So let me go through the forecast now. So, I have a lot of notices of people watching. Don't have many more comments, but from here on, let me go through all the way through the forecast and get you guys up to date. So then you can see the center of Helene there over western Kentucky. It will kind of weaken and move off to the east and bring us some more shower activity. Here's what this model shows. It shows the shower activity being very isolated, scattered, moving off as the low moves off to the east, dying out around the tri-state. Again, this was the drought monitor that came in on Thursday. And we've had a lot of rain since then, more rain in the past few days than we had in more than a month. And so you can see all the areas that are in the orangish shade up to the darker red, up to the really dark red. All that is anywhere from severe to extreme to exceptional drought. And I think a lot of that is going to go away, especially when you look out just outside of our viewing area where they had that 5 inches of rainfall. Okay, Climate Prediction Center says between the 4th and the 8th of October will be warmer than normal. We drop back to about normal, and we saw that on that graph through the 12th, and then through the 26th of October, about normal, maybe a little bit above normal in some spots to the north of the city. Rainfall through the 8th of October, about normal. Rainfall through the 12th, about normal, and about normal through the near the end of the month, the 26th of October. Okay, so your 7-day forecast looks like this. Overnight, we're going to drop to 62. That's Sunday morning's low with a high of 72. It'll be cloudy again. There's not going to be any clearing. There's very little chance we'll see some clearing with scattered showers, and just a few, nothing big. A few showers on Monday, a few showers on Tuesday with highs making it to the upper 70s. And then a cool front comes through and drops our temperature down to 72 Wednesday, 74 Thursday, back up into the upper 70s on Friday, and then down to the lower 70s on Saturday with lots of sunshine. When we go beyond the 7-day forecast, there you have it. Lows will drop one day into the 40s. I'm going to check that. I haven't had a chance to look at the latest afternoon models yet, but I'm thinking that 44 may be a little bit too cool for the morning of the 9th. But you see one day, the 7th, with a little bit of rain. The rest of the 7 days there has nothing as far as rainfall goes. So we're going to dry out quite a bit, and we're going to stay around normal. And here you can see that on this graph. There are the high temperatures, low temperatures, and we put the normal lines on. And so we're close to normal for that stretch of days right there. So overall, certainly looks like a lack of storminess probably for 2 weeks around the tri-state. Okay, that's it. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget that tomorrow morning, starting at 7 a.m., Ashley Smith, meteorologist Ashley Smith, will be on. She also has a streaming weather show that goes on at 11 a.m. Sunday, so you can join her there. Ethan Emery will be back tomorrow at 6 with his streaming show, and then he'll be on, of course, the Late Show. So, and I'll be on tonight, but we have kind of a weird schedule because we go from college football to a baseball game, and then there's a football game that starts at 11 p.m. And so our show will be 10 to 11, depending on how long the baseball game goes. And so 10 to 11 tonight, and then starting tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., Ashley Smith. That's it. Thank you for joining me. Have yourself a great weekend, and don't worry, all the danger from what's left of Helene has ended.